Okay, after you got all your purlins in, now we can switch to our fascias. And we're going to start with 13. There's going to be 6 fascias all together, 3 on each side. And we're going to start with 13, then 14, then 15 on this side, and then 16, 17, 18 on the other side. So anyway, so here's 13, and you have a fascia trim board, and then basically just nailed to another purlin is really all it is. And these are pretty much the same thing as putting the purlins in. You just want to get the notches lined up, and then drop it in just like that. And you definitely want to make sure you start with 13 and then work your way to 14, because we have a miter cut there that is intentional to make it look like it's one continuous piece. So we'll switch to 14, drop that down, and then you'll notice what we're trying to do is make that seamless look right there. And then we'll go on to 15. Now also be careful too, as you're putting these on, you know, actually it wouldn't hurt to go ahead and tack these on with the same nails so they don't fall on you while you're putting it in. But either way, because if they fall and break, that's not fun, or they'll get dinged up. Either way, so 15, we'll put 15 on. And then sometimes if they get a little tricky, you know, just keep working with it. You shouldn't have to force anything down, but just give it little lug taps, and they will go in just like that. And that looks phenomenal. We'll have to give this guy a little credit right here, right, Evan?
That's right.
That is a beautiful look. To try to pull off a, in this case, almost a 16-foot fascia in sections in a kit form 3,000 miles away, that's incredible. That looks good. So, anyways, same exact thing. So this last one was 15. You can do the same thing on the other side, 16, 17, 18. And then again, nail them down with those common ring shank nails, the same ones you use on the purlins, and we'll be ready to do your rake boards. Okay, after you got all your fascias on, now's a good time to go ahead and put your rake board on, and that is this piece right here. So on the front of the hen house, it's going to be labeled R1, and then it's in this identical process on the back of the hen house, it's going to be labeled R2. So anyways, what you're going to do is you're going to notice on the back of the rake board is a little gusset piece that's going to slide in between your 2 top purlins, okay? And then it is all pre-drilled, and what you want to do is flush up the end of the rake board as much as you can with the end of the fascia board, and then you're going to take the same nails you used on your trim boards for your corner pieces, the hot dip galvanized, go ahead and put them in the hole. When you're happy with it, hammer it in, and obviously again, you know, this all has some parts, so we're not going to do it for you. We did just tack it in just to hold it up there. So again, R1 on the front, R2 on the back. You'll notice they're labeled up here on the upper corner in the purlin, and just get it on and get it in position the best you can, and then you're going to continue to nail it, 2 nails all the way in the end of each purlin. So that'll be it for your rake boards. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go ahead and put the roofing on the top of your coop, and there's going to be a total of 10 panels. Out of those 10 panels, only 2 are going to be different, the other 8 are going to be identical. So the first one you're going to want to start with is number 1, and I did accidentally label 1 as a 1, and it's not, it's actually number 5, so no big deal, just pay no attention to that basically. Just didn't want you to see that and have that confuse you. So anyway, so what we're going to do is grab panel number 1, and I'm going to cheat a little bit. So we have a scaffold here, and if you have a scaffold, great. If not, no worries. Just a regular ladder will work. And it's very important that we get this started the right way. So, when you take your number 1 panel, that number is going to be in this orientation here in the upper right hand corner. And what's important is that this edge, this is the rib, this is the valley of the roofing. This rib has a drip edge on the right side. We want that drip edge overhanging your rake board, okay? So you're going to do 2 things when you get in position. One is you're going to get the end of the roofing panel lined up to the peak. And then the other thing you want to do is you want to sight the outside of your rake board to split this rib. You want it right down the middle. And you don't have to get it, you know, don't need to split hairs, but you want to get it pretty darn close. And so it should look something about like that. And again, with that, along with making sure that we're lining up at the peak. Next, what you're going to want to do is take that 1/4" nut driver bit that's in your kit. You're going to have a bag full of roofing screws, which are going to be these guys right here. They're 1.5 inch, very coarse thread, self-piercing roofing screws. And what I like to do is get it in position and then just start in the middle, roughly, of the roofing panel. No need to get those really tight, just enough to seat that gasket. And then, without setting anything too far in stone, I like to get the next panel, well, this still has a little wiggle room, and throw that on and get it all lined up and make sure everything is nice, and then go through and do the rest of the screws. So we'll go ahead and grab the next panel. Now you'll notice the drip edge now. The drip edge now is going to be to the left side of the panel, because what we want to do is make sure that the right side of the next panel going on does not have a drip edge. So when that overlaps this rib, it looks like it's, you know, one continuous piece of metal. That's what we're shooting for. So now is when you can take it and adjust your roofing panel to continue to line up that top edge of the roofing panel to meet the peaks of the rafters. So right now, everything's looking good. I'm going to go ahead and get the second panel in place just by putting one roofing screw right here. And normally at that point, you should be good. I like to play it safe sometimes, and then continue on and again come back through. So go ahead and grab the next panel. And what you're doing is just making sure you're flush here and lining up at the top peaks, which we are, so everything's looking good. And actually, if you get lucky, you might even be able to use these pre-existing holes that I'm putting in it right now. But if not, don't worry about trying to get the screws in the existing holes, because we could be a little bit different by the time it gets out to California as far as how it's sitting on the ground. So after that's in, go ahead and grab another panel. Flushing it up at the bottom. Make sure we're at the peak. Everything's looking good. Another screw. And then, the last one on this side. Now this one is going to have the same orientation as far as the direction of the drip edge, and what you should see if all went well, oh, that's perfect, is this rake board now splits that rib. If it's a little more, a little less, no worries. That's what we're shooting for, something just like that. As long as you've got an overhang, you're good, and as long as we're looking good up at that peak, and we're still nice and flush down here, so again, it looks like one continuous piece of metal, you're good. So that's as far as I'm going to go with actually screwing in the roofing panels, because again, when you get it out to your property, if it's sitting just a little bit different, you know, the rafters and purlins went in a little bit different, it could throw the holes off. And I would rather, with the instructions I was giving you on how to put the roof on, now you dictate where it goes to fit the coop perfectly when it's out there. So hopefully that all made sense. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. And once both of those in, we'll get started on your ridge cap. So let's go ahead and start that now. Okay, so after you finished 1 through 5 over there, now we're just going to get the other roofing panel that is a little bit different, so we labeled it number 6. So now you're going to start on this side of your hen house. It's all going to be the same exact steps, and in theory your ribs should match up with your ribs on the other side. They don't match up perfect, don't let that worry ya. Just start it just like you did on the other one. How's that looking?
Good.
Right up that rib. So again, line up the rib, that rake board splitting the rib, and then once you get it in position, go ahead and put one leading screw in. And then the rest of the roofing panels that are not labeled, going down the line. And then the last one. How's it look? Okay. And then again, just get that last panel in, the one screw, and then make sure you're happy with everything. If everything looks good, you can go through it and make any twists, turns if need be. But again, once you get that first one going the right way, and then you can go through, put the rest of the screws in, all the pre-drilled holes, and now we're ready for your ridge cap.